If you're putting out content and you're doing the cold outreach and you're trying to get people to buy your info offer, your coaching program, or just anything with your online service based business, and they're just not buying and they're asking so many questions, it's really just because they don't trust you. And that's because you haven't given them enough opportunity to really find out more about who you are by posting the right types of content and wiping out all their skepticism before the call. And so in this video, I'm going to break down exactly how to combat that and how to fix this issue as soon as right after this video. And so the problem in the first place is that trust is at an all-time low, right? There's a crisis where people don't really trust each other, especially in the online space. Everyone is selling the online services, online packages. People just aren't really trusting in the first place. And so to fix this problem, most coaches actually focus on the wrong thing first. A lot of coaches focus on these features, the credentials, the different, unique mechanisms and specific features of their offer when people don't even want to really see that in the first place. They need to know more about you and they need to trust you more, right? They need to know, like, and trust you all in that order. And so putting out content can get them to know you, but where a lot of leads are slipping through the cracks is those second two, right? It's liking and trusting you by putting out the right content and putting out enough content. And so if we know that clients buy based on trust and not just information, then we know the real reason why your offer isn't selling in the first place is because you're in the trust deficit side of this equation. And so there's different stages to knocking off all these different layers of skepticism and answering all the questions that people have through content and getting them to know you. And so stage one is the know you phase, obviously. It's the awareness content, reaching as many people as possible. Stage two is going to be your nurture content. This is nurturing your audience with applicable advice and making yourself an authority. And then stage three is trust you content. In other words, direct content, more about what you do, how you've done it, how well you've done it, and the other people you've helped throughout the journey. And so another way to think of this is obviously just like a content funnel, right? A social funnel. And so hopping into stage one, the purpose of this is to get on potential clients' radars, right? This is to reach as many people as possible, cast a wide net, and get people to know you in the first place. And so the content approach here is problem focused and not quite solution focused. You're trying to spike curiosity, talk about common touch points, relate to as many people as possible. So the simple format that works best here is obviously short form content. It's really easily digestible and you can reach a lot of people that way. So some examples and factors of success here are going to be identifying the hidden problems they're facing, challenge different industry misconceptions, right? And this makes your content a bit more polarizing. Sharing surprising statistics or trends is also an amazing thing. And then of course, using pattern interrupts to stand out throughout all these different videos. And so now with stage two, going into nurture content, the purpose here is to build connection and demonstrate expertise, right? Build more of a connection, spend more time with these prospects and demonstrate that expertise so you can actually become an authority in their head and in the space that you're jumping into. And so the content approach here is going to be more value driven with, more personality shown, more storytelling aspects to it, and just really making more of a connection. And so now the format for these is short form, of course, because we want to stay on that same platform where we're building the biggest audience and target more people with shorts. But then also we want to step into long form content here. And the most important part about that is that we need to spend more time with our prospects, right? And so Google did a study, it's called the 7-11-4 rule, basically states that the average prospect needs to spend 7 hours consuming your content on 11 different touch points on 4 platforms before even considering making a purchasing decision. And so with that being said, we know that short form content can't really keep up and you can't really spend that much time with people with these 20 to 60 second videos, which is why we have to make these long form videos to actually spend more time with our prospects. And so now some examples of what this could look like for your brand. We have, behind the scenes of your process, what you do specifically, really just you doing it. We can also sprinkle in some client transformation stories. We can talk about, of course, your personal story, build more connection, share more value, and connect with those leads more. And a lot of detailed how-to content where you're actually doing it with them and shifting beliefs and just getting that authority once again. And so now with the third and final stage, the trust you / direct content, the purpose of this is to establish deep credibility and actually convert. This is showing them more about what you do and how well you've really done it. And so the approach here with the content is really proof focused and solution oriented. So just like with stage two content, the format is also going to be short and long form to get these touch points. We also want to keep in mind that we're going to be reaching less people here, but that's completely okay because we're reaching the most highest quality audience that are, solution aware and they know about you and they want to see that proof and they need to see that proof to actually move to the next stage in your funnel. And so the main goal here is really making them as detailed as possible and comprehensive to really target these people that are ready to move forward. They just need that last bit of raw proof of what you do and who you've helped and how you've done it. So examples of this content can be case studies with specific results. This can be detailed methodology of your offer, of the breakdown of really just how the whole process works. It can be addressing objections directly. At the end of all of these videos, making sure to have clear next steps and calls to action of how to move forward, because this content's more direct and more focused on actually moving them forward. And so we have to hand them that path of like where to go from here. So now when it comes to the common mistakes of jumping into all of this, really the main thing to make sure of is that you're hitting all three of these pillars here. You have the top of funnel, middle, and the bottom of the funnel, and that you're not missing and leaving anything out. And so with that said, you definitely don't want to jump straight to trust content with cold audiences. You also don't want to just put out know you content without any of these other touch points and other types of content, because you won't nurture. And so you can't leave one part out and just do, another part or another two types of content. Another thing you want to avoid doing is creating random content without strategic purpose. And so without the intent on the back end, you want to know in the first place, what type of content is this? What stage? What stage of where this lead is at are we targeting? And of course, throughout the process of posting all this content, we don't want to just fully focus on features, right? That was the whole main point of this video, is we really want to focus on the transformation, actually shifting beliefs, getting them to actually, like and trust you. And so we don't want to just talk about features and be, bland in that sort of way. And once again, I can't emphasize it enough. This framework really only works if all pieces are there, right? And so for example, if you only have trust you content and like you content, you're not going to bring in enough people and a big enough audience to have this actually work at scale in the first place. On the other hand, if you only have this type of content and you don't have the other two, you're only bringing in people, right? You're not going to be actually converting at the end of the day. So now I want to leave you with the trust acceleration system. If you're watching this video and you made it this far and you just want to implement this right away and start getting more leads and more business using content, then, here's some things to do. Number one is going to be leveraging social proof strategically. And so using this in the right way. This is going to work really well in specifically stage 3, but also stage 2 as well. And so you want to make use of that to the max. Number 2 is going to be using retargeting to reinforce your messaging, right? And so retargeting paid traffic can be a great part of content to sprinkle in right here for your marketing. And so that's another way to just accelerate the whole process and get more leads and more, of the high quality leads that you need seeing your videos. Another thing, if you're looking to implement a real system like this and get every single piece, all the moving pieces going, is to actually treat this like a content ecosystem, right? Don't just treat it like isolated pieces, one hit opportunities, just like, one video goes out and let's hope it does well. If you focus on every single piece here, then every piece of content, is posted with intent to move leads forward in a certain way. So to wrap it up, I'll leave you with this. Stop wondering why qualified leads aren't buying and start building an actual trust funnel that converts with your personal brand. And so if you are a coach, info product seller, or a service-based business owner, you want to see if my team and I can just step in and implement all of this for you, I'll leave a link below in the description where you can book to speak directly with me one-on-one, so I can audit your entire situation right now and see if anything could be optimized and what the best way to move forward would be. Catch you in the next video.